Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. Man, it has been a while since I've done one of these. However, update 18.11 came out last night and brought with it a weapon that really caught my attention, the Stradavar. Now the Stradavar is a sort of light machine gun assault rifle combo with a base damage of just 30, 15 of which is in puncture, 10.5 as slash and just 4.5 as impact. From then on the stats are pretty average. 10% crit chance, 200% multiplier, status chance that's even lower than that at only 5%. It does get a little bit better from there though. The thing is actually fairly accurate, and having almost no recoil whatsoever really allows you to take advantage of that accuracy and pump out those headshots. A decent magazine size of 65 rounds and the fire rate being about 10 rounds, well it is 10 rounds per second, means that this can put out a pretty decent volume of fire, especially since its reload speed of just 2 seconds isn't too bad for this sort of thing either. However, this weapon does come with a special feature, a secondary fire that actually switches it from being a fully automatic light machine gun into a single shot marksman rifle, halving its fire rate to just 5 rounds a second, but doubling its critical chance to 20%. Now it's got a couple of downsides to it. The rate of fire drop on the semi-auto fire is pretty damn painful. That combined with the fact it is not the highest base damage ever, or the supporting stats to really drag it up a notch, means it's really going to fall off reasonably quickly when you start going into higher level content. Plus, a really rather hefty mastery rank requirement of 8 means that this is not a weapon you're going to pick up quickly after starting the game. Okay, so let's move on to starting to mod the Stradavar. Now it does come with 2 Vs as standard, however we're going to add 4 former. Now this is so I can try and get that sort of dual build going. So I can mod for the LMG, or I can mod for the sort of marksman rifle. Now for this first build, we're going to add the, for this basically, we're going to add 2 Vs and 2 dashes. That's the form we're going to do. And in this build, we're going to go Serration, Split Chamber Shred. No heavy caliber because this has really good accuracy. We're not going to try and mess that up. But we are going to go with a very fun build for this LMG. File Acceleration for fire rate, and Speed Trigger for even more fire rate. So this thing fires ridiculously fast. But that means that we kind of need to make sure that we've got Prime Demo Mutation on here, just to make sure that we are going to be constantly topped up on ammo. And then if I combine that with something like Carrier, it means I'm going to have ammo coming in all of the time. So this is something that I do very often. If I'm going to go with fire rate, I'll go with the ammo mutation, and I will combine that with Carrier. And that is a fantastic combo. Now in terms of the elementals, we go 290%. So for the corpus, I would probably, in fact with the corpus, I probably would go straight toxin here. So we go straight toxin for the corpus, and corrosive for the void. And then if we were going to go in for the Grunier, trying to get more words out today, go for radiation. And then obviously if we're in corrosive projection void, we can switch things around a bit more, and then we can go for the viral. Now for the marksman rifle, if we're going to go for that, so Serration, Split Chamber Shred, Point Strike, Argon Scope and Bladed Rounds. And then we're going to go with Stormbringer and Infected Clip for the elementals. It's going to come to, you're going to have problems trying to do the viral build on here, so actually if I was going to be using this in the void, I would actually go for radiation. Same thing with Grenier. And if you, well, even though we've got a dash polarity here, you can put Malignant Force in still, even if it's the wrong slot. And then you've got Toxin for the Corpus. So what do I think of the weapon? Well, you know what? I absolutely love it. If you're going to compare it to something, you can compare it to something like the Bratton Prime. It's only slightly less base damage than that, and that is a prime assault rifle. People are going to go on and on that this is not a good weapon. They're going to say, just use the Soma, just use the Heck, this, that and the other. But I can tell you this now, I've always found the Soma super seriously boring. And I've got pretty bored of stuff like the Heck as well. You do not need the best weapon in the game to have something that is way more important. And that is a ton of fun. And that is what this weapon is. It's really fun. More fun than I've had from a weapon in a long time. Screw trying to get the quote-unquote best damage out of it. Go for the light machine gun version. Run around spraying crazily. Whack a ton of fire rate on there. It's amazing. Combine that with the fact that the weapon sounds great and looks great. It's honestly a weapon I would use over the Soma Prime or the Heck, just for normal missions. If you're a person that wants to play with the strongest weapons all of the time, fair enough. But for the majority of the content we have, stuff like the Heck, stuff like the Soma Prime, is massively overkill right now. You don't need something like those for the majority of what people do in Warframe. I mean, you can see in the background that, okay, I'm using Nova for the double damage, but even 35 to 40 minutes into a Tower 4 survival, with corrosive projections, it's still killing just fine. You don't always need that ridiculously strong weapon to get stuff done in Warframe. Weapons like this, that don't have the best stats in the world, I admit, but it is a huge amount of fun to play with. And in a time that a lot of people are suffering from burnout, a fun weapon is what people needed right now. I can already see people typing in the comments that I'm wrong because of the mastery requirement being too damn high, and that there are better weapons for that mastery requirement. You're absolutely right. It's true. It is. There is. But this being Mastery 8 is wrong. It's honestly not good enough to be that high. It should be Mastery 3, Mastery 4 at the most. And the alt fire kind of forces you to decide before the mission how you want to play the weapon, either as the light machine gun or the marksman rifle. Because personally, I mod very differently for the two. I don't see the need to switch from auto to semi-auto mid-fight. I don't feel it brings enough of a difference in the playstyle for me to actually use it personally. For me, it's two weapons in one. A ridiculously fun light machine gun to run around with firing like a madman, or honestly a pretty subpar marksman rifle with that horrendously slow fire rate. But for me, none of those make my decision change, because as I said earlier, I've had more fun with this than I have done in with any weapon for a long time. Doing this series, especially when you're modding and formering everything, you often get caught up with those quote-unquote best weapons, and you forget something that as time goes on becomes way more important, and that becomes the fun factor. You can keep your Somas, you can keep your bolters. I will happily run around with this all day. As always guys, I'd love to hear your feedback, and I shall see you in the next episode.